when we were then in the sort of 18, and I've known Steve since I was 18, and we were this nutty, and Paul Daly and everybody, we were like Latin jazz nutters, and we used. Well, no, they were sort of the modern incarnation of it. The ones we loved were like Brazil 66 and those bands. You know, those. And there's a singer called Lani Hall, who's the singer with that band. She was my favourite singer ever, you know. So it's bossa nova and those jazz and that. If I could be a pop star, I would be like 67 to 72, I think, you know, and doing Beatles covers in Spanish or something. Yeah. Even though I can't speak. Well, she could never speak English, but she always sang in English. So.
Can I just check out, just going back to the previous question though, because I am curious about, you know, this having to take 2 to 3 years, having to invest, needing financial investment to be able to do that. I'm curious if actually the academia and where you've gone in experimenting with sound is more where you're at. And that's a bigger draw for you.
I suppose. Honestly, you know, I watched Glastonbury the other night, and when somebody's good, you know, and they really connect, like I was watching Mary J. Blige doing No More Drama. Yeah. You know, and I'll go over to the mirror when no one's looking with my hairbrush and, you know, no more drama. You know, or I'll have a little cry when somebody's really good and moving. Honestly, that doesn't really go away. You sort of put it away.
I'm not a musician. I want to be on stage at Glastonbury.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't really go away, the desire to do that. And, you know, I suppose the thing with A Man Called Adam and the reason, if I were to analyse it, that people connect with some of those songs is that you put your bloody sweat and blood and all your emotional shit into them. And they were written in blood, you know, the best of them were kind of, give or take 1 or 2, that were just happy accidents. But generally speaking, those lyric songs that people like Estelle or Easter Song, or, you know, they're about really difficult, heavy stuff. And it's incredibly demanding to write that stuff and to produce that stuff. And I guess a bit of you is just a little bit like, that's a bit hard work. And, you know, thinking about, you know, poetry and the meaning of writing about it, thinking in a more sort of intellectual way is it's not easier, but it's less painful. Because they are kind of painful. You know, they're kind of ripped out of you. And that's why people feel them, you know. So I think, I honestly, Rob, I think the only way we would come back to do those old, revisit that old material in a live context was that if we wrote some new, a couple, just one even, new song that had the same power as some of those old songs.
And what is it that stops you from doing that, do you think? Is it that painfulness?
Yeah.
Why can't it be a pleasurable process?
It can, and it is. Me and Steve have great fun doing Discrete Machines and stuff. But life, you know, I alluded to it briefly. I was bereaved about 8 years ago, and that is what I'd have to write about. I'd have to dig that up. So I haven't. I'm not saying I won't ever, but I might. And I'd have to dig that up, and I'd have to relive that and revisit that, because that's what those songs are. They're you know, we always looked for like we used to describe it as a sort of wave of emotion. It has to crash, you know, and somewhere in that song it has to go, you know, and make you feel it. And when I'm singing it, I have to go, and I have to be close to tears. You know, like Mary J with No More Drama. That's her. That's her. You know, I'm putting it all.
Have you written songs that other people have sung, or still, you know, like some people ghostwrite, don't they, or you know?
No, you know, and that's. I mean, we did. Miles Copeland sent us to this amazing thing. I think he was just trying to impress us when we first signed to the label, but he sent us to this. He did this songwriting seminar every year in the south of France. There's a big castle in the south of France called Chateau Marouat, and he sent us there to write. And it's an amazing thing. They had he flew engineers in from Los Angeles, like 4 engineers, and they set up studios all over the grounds, 4 studios all over the grounds of this amazing French chateau. And then all these helicopters started to arrive. And it was Carole King got out of one. Wow. And what's his name? A guy called Greg Wells, who's the producer of Adele and Rufus Wainwright and Katy Perry. We got off the train on the sort of standard class, and from first class, Hanson, you know, the Hanson Mbop got out on one end. Chris de Burgh flew in on his helicopter. And what you had to do is they put you, each day, they took 3 of you, and they decided who went with who, and they said you have a day to write a song, and then you have a day to record it. And then there's a lovely chef and catering and everything. That was one of the best things. And in the evening, you had to play your song that you'd written and recorded in the day to everybody else who was there. And it was amazing. I wrote 2 songs with Hanson. Stephen and I wrote, Taylor Hanson, nicest kid in the world, lovely. Steve and I wrote a song with a guy called Dean Miller, whose father wrote King of the Road, country legend.
Yeah.
He didn't get us at all. He was like total acoustic country, Keith Urban kind of guy. Country Music Awards, and we were like drum and bass, you know, and he was like, no, I don't understand. And we wrote with Greg Wells, who's a brilliant guy. Those guys, the Bare Naked Ladies, were there. Yeah. Wow. And you know, that was our experience of...
Who's got those recordings?
I've got them actually. Steve got to write with Carole King.
Wow.
And that is a great song. And it was amazing just to watch them, you know, those American writers, especially someone like Carol, they're like, oh, that was the guy, Mark, what's his name? He wrote I Don't Want to Miss a Thing for Aerosmith. And just to watch them, they were musical, like off the scale, and they were hit factories, all of these people. But
compared to what you were just saying about how you write, that sounds like a really, really different world.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we write, but then it's the sonics so that it's always been this kind of mixture of the two. This something like Easter Song is a kind of half song. It's got like little phrases. Again, it's that sort of, I think, getting back to the PhD, it's sort of technology led the way that's made. It's these little bites of lyric. And then you're looking for that sonic atmosphere that sort of supports. It's like a river on which the little lyric boats float. Sorry, that's a terrible metaphor, but you know.
That's beautiful. That's like
and so it is a different approach to that classic songwriting, and it was great fun. Steve hated it, by the way, that week. He loathed every minute of it. He didn't. You know, he thought they were all arrogant assholes, and I think it was his confidence. It was hard. You know, he's quite a shy person, and to be thrown in like that was hard. I loved it. I loved every minute. Cause, you know, it was just like whoa.
So where next for you creatively? Then overcoming months.
Well, I'm trying to, you know, finish this book proposal. We've got a nice museum job. We did a thing for something called the British Music Experience. We did the sound, and I'm the voiceover. I'm the lady in the audio guide.
Oh,
So I
yeah,
did.
not big,
In
yeah.
1967, Dusty Springfield wore this dress on her debut performance on. Yeah, so that's me when you go round. So I've got, and it's moving to Liverpool.
Oh, is it?
So we
Right.
have to do a big update for
Right,
it, and I
yeah.
have to make it sort of Liverpool centric. I'm not quite sure.
Are you going to do a Scouse accent?
No, we did this box called Hey DJ, like an interactive record box, and we was like, what can we? I think we're going to have to put some Scouse House in it and stuff. I don't know. So we got nice jobs. We just done a sound design for a Radio 4 play, which was really nice. Terrible money. All the nice jobs.
Well, there's no money from the BBC anymore, is there?
But I suppose, and Steve's doing a PhD, and his research is really brilliant. I think it's we call it Gorilla iPad, and you sort of take the iPad out. One of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life was at the Bradford Festival, and we said we would go. They described us as street theatre. And we had like little portable speakers, and we took the iPads out into the street and we record the kind of ambient sound, whatever's going on, and then we process it in real time and play it back into the sound. And some people absolutely hated it, because you make it's like Stockhausen while you're having, while you're buying your fruit and veg, and some people are like, whoa, and then some people were like, oh, that's great, but it was really challenging.